Hello and welcome to the Retro Game Time Machine podcast. At the time of recording, it is August 1st, 2020. I am Mash the Newton, and joining me through a series of tubes is Andy the Android.
Beep bop beep. I'm here. Hello.
Hey, that's Android, and also made me think a little bit of a dial-up modem sound. I was going to say I miss those days, but I think actually that's an absolute lie. I do not miss dial-up internet.
No, I miss the sound.
Not in the least. Yeah. The sound's kind of fun. It's like you're about to embark on an experience that was the World Wide Web, which, I mean, it still is, but I don't know. Things are different nowadays.
Yeah, I think that sound actually is it's actually dialing into the phone line and actually using tones to actually connect. I think that's what that sound actually literally is. It has a purpose. It's not just
yeah. Yeah, something I haven't heard in a while.
Yes.
Anyway. All right. Well, dial-up modem sounds. Aside from that, how's your Saturday shaping up so far?
You know, it's good. It's pretty warm out there. I find myself getting frustrated when I see the weather report fluctuate by 2 or 3 degrees. I shouldn't be, but to me it makes a big difference. I'm insulted. Like 84, that's not too bad, and then I'll check a couple hours later, say 87. I'm like, oh
yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. To be actually, I haven't even looked at the weather. All I know here, it's probably something nice. It's probably low to mid 70s.
Yeah, we actually went out for a socially distanced lunch, which was
oh, cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. You go choose your table, you sit down, and someone comes out and sanitizes your table, leaves you with some hand sanitizer that's also been, the bottle itself has been sanitized, and then they actually hand a little paper slip with a QR code that has a link to their menu that you actually can go to. So you use your phone to read the menu. I thought it was interesting.
That is interesting.
It's the first time I've eaten outside, since shelter in place has started. So,
wow. Yeah. I've not done that yet.
Yeah. I was wary. I didn't want to, but my partner actually kind of pressured it a little, and I kind of like, oh, okay, let's give it a shot.
All right.
But it was good. We did. It was a Korean Japanese fusion place.
Nice.
It was good.
That sounds good. Yeah, I was surprised with some pizza and some salad for my lunch today. It was funny as I was doing some stuff here in my office and was playing a little bit of stuff earlier. I was like, all right, I'm gonna come out because my partner's doing a little bit of painting we have this utility box in our hallway that since we've lived here, and we've been here for like 7 years now, 7.5 even, and it's well, I guess it's utility box is the wrong name for it. It's the breaker box.
Sure.
And it's just this giant gray thing in our hallway that we've wondered for years, like, how are we gonna deal with this and cover it? And we've just been kind of too lazy to do anything about it. And then my partner saw something cool online that inspired her to create this like geometric multicolored design over the top of it. And so far, I mean, she's in progress right now, but it looks really cool. And I think it's way better than just the big gray metal box in the middle of the wall. So
that sounds fun. That sounds really cool.
It's we've been doing a lot of little things to make the house nice since we've been in it so much.
I think a lot of people are doing that. It's interesting. A lot of work being done. Both my neighbors actually simultaneously had construction going on the last week or so. So
yeah, we're also getting a dishwasher finally. We haven't had a dishwasher for over a year, and we're getting that delivered on Wednesday finally. I mean, we ordered it a while ago, and everything's taking a little bit longer to be delivered nowadays. So it'll be nice to have a dishwasher again, because the last one we had was not that great. It didn't work very well. it's my first time ever buying a brand new appliance like this.
Yeah.
So exciting adult stuff.
I have to give a call out. I've been telling everyone about this. It's so I got a this little gadget, and I'm particularly excited about it. It's a 1 cup coffee maker. So
Interesting.
it's just like your standard coffee maker, but instead of a coffee pot that you put under it, you actually put your coffee mug. It actually comes with a travel
Okay.
mug that you can put under there. And it just brews about, 14 ounces of coffee. It kind of varies like how much water you actually put in,
Yeah.
but you just use your coffee cup, fill it up, and then put it there and prep it. And it's programmable. So um,
Nice.
I normally do pour over coffee all the time, but I just
Yeah.
kind of got tired of like grinding and heating the water in the morning. I just want something that I can either program or just hit a button and it's ready to go. So
Nice.
yeah, I've been it's a big time adult moment. I'm just like very excited over a coffee maker.
Yep. It happens to all of us. We get excited about appliances,
uh
coffee makers, all the all the quote unquote boring stuff from when we were kids.
it even has like its own reusable coffee filter that it comes with, but I
Oh,
want to like
nice.
get disposable ones. But it's roughly, if it would have to be about the size of a cupcake wrapper. Like that's how big the
Oh, wow.
like the basically the coffee
Yeah.
catcher is. So I mean the reusable one's better for the environment, but it does get a little bit of the grits or little grains into your coffee, which is I could deal with. But
Ah, adds a crunchy element to your coffee.
well, it's just you get to the bottom and it's just a
Sure.
little
Yeah. Yeah.
like murky. It's like, huh, huh.
Gotcha.
So
Well, that's where all your extra energy comes from, is all that stuff down in the bottom.
yes, yeah, that's energy grinds.
All right. Well, I think maybe we should move on to talk about video games, since it is the Retro Game Time Machine podcast and not the adult appliance hour.
Yeah, well,
uh,
if we can't just play games all the
I
time
know. I
or
know.
go back in time.
All right. Well, today we will be traveling back to 1998 to discuss Half-Life for the PC. But before we do that, we're going to talk about news. And actually, right before the news, I do want to bring up two little things here. So in our last episode, when I was mentioning the Ghost of Tsushima, and I said something about it being a Soulsborne style game, I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Um, I obviously had not seen much or done literally any research about the game, so I just wanted to correct myself there. It very much looks more like a Assassin's Creed style game, but with samurai, and that seems really cool to me. So yeah, previously really didn't have that much interest thinking of the style that it was with it being a Soulsborne game. But again, it's not. So yeah, I might actually end up checking this out sooner than I would have otherwise.
Same, really, because I'm an Assassin's Creed fan. I would say I'm
Yeah.
way behind on the series, so
Oh, me too.
yeah.
But I played through and I may have 100%ed the very first Assassin's Creed game.
Whoo!
Yeah, the most boring one, at least from a story standpoint, but I don't know, there was something about that game when it first came out that it spoke to me
Mhm.
for some reason, and I just had to keep playing it and like just do every little thing on the map. But maybe it's because I did it in that game that I'm hesitant to do it in the newer versions of the game.
Sure, sure. They definitely it's more entertaining. I don't think anything really those banner flags that you have to or eagle feathers, like none of that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, it's there. It's just in a better format. So
All right. So anyway, sorry, sidetracked there, but yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, not not what I said it was previously. And the other thing before we get into the news is we're going to be aiming for releases by Monday mornings every other week, and if possible, we'll also announce by the end of each episode what the next episode's game focus will be. So you have something to look forward to, maybe even play along as you're waiting for the next episode, so that you have a little bit more context as we are talking about our impressions about it. Um, so, yeah, stay tuned to the end of the show to find out what the next game will be. So, why don't we get right into the news, and I will let you take it away.
Cool. Well, we've got some new games coming to Game Pass, so this is always welcome news. I mean, games do go away after a little while, but the fact that they're there at all, I think, is really great.
Yeah,
First up is Yakuza Kiwami, which is
go on me
I'm sure
too.
Kiwami 2.
Yeah,
Yes, I am mistaken. I didn't know that there were two Kiwamis. That's anyway. Yakuza series, very confused which games come when. Um, have to play those at some point.
yes, same. I have not played them either, but I have definitely heard a lot of really great things about the Yakuza games.
Also, we've got the tourist that's on there, which is it's such an adorable, just great little game. I picked it up on Switch, which I believe it runs at 720p, 60 frames per second
Oh,
on and
nice.
handheld as well, according to
Yeah,
Digital Foundry. And
it's definitely a cool looking game. It's something that's been sitting on my wish list on Switch, but I think now I'll just check it out here on Game Pass.
yeah, yeah, it's just it's really interesting. It kind of forces exploration. Like there's like this sort of money system. You have to like find coins, and that kind of allows you to advance. But yeah, it's just this is a great option for Game Pass, I think, because I think a lot of people just need to try it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really love personally about Game Pass is that there are so many really interesting games that maybe don't look quite interesting enough to me because it's not a game that I normally play. Well, not interesting enough in the respect that like I don't know if I want to spend $20 just to see if I even like this game. So it's been a great place to kind of check out different genres of games that I wouldn't necessarily play otherwise.
Yeah. And maybe Yakuza Kiwami 2 is the entry point we need to dive into and just start
Yeah.
playing there. You never
Well, and
know.
I think there have been other Yakuza games on Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if there are going to be multiple on Game Pass now, or if this is going to be the only one. But I'll have to look and see. Maybe the time is right to finally check out a Yakuza game.
Yeah, and a slight tangent too. There's there's a game that kind of reminds me of it is Sleeping Dogs as well,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's a game that I really really do want to play. That's almost more like because you play as like a cop in China in a particular time period. I forget where it was, but it's just like it's good. It's almost like a Jackie Chan movie. It's awesome.
oh nice.
um, but also we've got on this list Nowhere Profit, which I'm gonna have to research. I still don't know what this game
I know I
is.
can't tell what it is
It actually looks
in
like a
this
card
article.
game,
Got it.
TCG, really. Almost. Anyway, and F1 2019, which again I would probably never ever pay money for, but I would
Yeah, no,
probably try.
yeah, it definitely piques my interest here. Is just something to try out because I've definitely heard good things about the F1 series from folks that I know really love racing games.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, the fact that it's part of Game Pass, I mean, why not? As we end up getting to the things that we've played, there are a number of things on Game Pass that I recently checked out, and I mean, I haven't put a ton of time into them yet, but they kind of fit into that category of like, I don't know if I would have paid for this, but now like I'm really glad that I've had the opportunity to check it out and see what they're all about because of Game Pass.
It's such a great way that developers can get the word out, because
Yeah, it's
people if people are playing your game, they're talking about it, and
exactly.
maybe people, PS4 people or people that are like to play games on Steam. These games, a lot of these games are there too, so they can
Yeah,
I'm sure it manifests in sales, and they also get a little bit of money from Microsoft. So
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking forward to what's hopefully to come with Project X Cloud stuff getting added to Game Pass.
yes.
Um, man, it's very apparent that we like Game Pass.
I mean, we like playing lots of games, and
It's a
Game
great
Pass is a
deal. It's a
great
great,
deal.
yeah, I mean, it's a really great way to be able to play a bunch of stuff on Xbox and PC. And if anyone is curious who's listening to this, I promise we are not making any money from talking about Game Pass. We actually just really like it.
Yeah, I think that's a general consensus, though. Everyone's pretty stoked
Yeah.
about it.
I mean,
No
yeah,
one's really
I think,
mad.
yeah, most people that actually subscribe to it, it's great. I mean, to me, it's the only real equivalent that I have to like going to the video game rental store on the weekend,
Mhm.
like I used to when I was a kid. So
And
still gives that like rental store kind of like rotating stock, like, oh, this game's going off of Game Pass, so like it's checked out and I can't get it, quote unquote.
yeah,
Um, so
I mean, even for people, last thing I'll say on Game Pass, but it's
yeah,
just like the fact that it has a standalone tier for PC only too, because there are lots of gamers I know that only have a PS4 or only have a PC, so that definitely don't have never owned an Xbox. So I think that's a
yeah,
great option.
yep,
Next thing I got on the list here is there was what they're calling the Giga Leak, which I, I I don't know why it is called the Giga Leak, but maybe it's like Giga Bowser, but it's like relates to Nintendo. But it looks like some source code from various N64 and uh, original Nintendo games as well. It looks like the source code for Star Fox 2, Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, one of my favorites.
man,
Um, but the big thing, this is the standout thing, is that they found Luigi in Super Mario 64.
he's always been there.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there the whole time, and despite all the rumors that have come up, he simply of how to unlock Luigi in Super Mario 64 that were all false. Um, Somehow he's in there. He's in the game data. So of course, people have pulled the files out and applied the skin to Mario. So you can, there's a way to play as Luigi in Super Mario 64.
So that kid's uncle that worked at Nintendo that said that Luigi was in this game was actually right.
Yeah, he wasn't a jerk and he wasn't lying. You should probably call him up and apologize. So,
Yeah,
or her,
man.
whoever.
No, this is super cool. I mean, I'm sure that Nintendo didn't just open this up on their Google Drive for people to download, so it does kind of suck that it seems like there was an intrusion. But on the other hand, from a video game preservation and history standpoint, I do think that it's cool that the source code is out there for these games on these really old systems. Because now I wonder, with was instead of doing ROM hacks, people could like legit create stuff, like create a new uh, Ocarina of Time or a new Mario Kart 64,
Yeah.
and create new content without having to be hacky about it.
Yeah, man. Uh, I love like for that kind of reason. I love when I see new releases for old consoles, like new games for the
Yes.
N64 and such. I find that stuff so fascinating. So
Yeah, I still periodically see new games that are being made for the Dreamcast that you can even buy on like PlayAsia.
wow, that's
And I'm sure you can
that's
get them other
awesome.
places too, but yeah, I love seeing stuff like that where people are creating brand new content for really old and dead systems.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorites is when they demade Halo for the Atari
Oh yeah,
2600.
I remember that.
I played the heck out of that in the browser. So
Oh, that's too funny.
Um, all right. So, last thing that I kind of threw on here, as well as Double Fine is celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And so congrats to them, one of my favorite developers. But they also have a Humble Bundle campaign where you can pick up a bunch of their titles, and I've already thrown my money at it, even though I kind of own them all already, but that's okay.
Now it's just another version.
Yeah, I actually Massive Chalice is on there. I tried that on Xbox. It's not my thing, but it was. I thought it was still interesting to experience. It was like a demo, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
For me, Costume Quest. I love Broken Age. I still haven't beaten to this day, but I will. I will go back. It's really hard once you get out of a adventure puzzle game to like go back in.
Yeah.
So because you have to kind of steamroll the progress that you've already gone through. Um, Gang Beast, which I really want to play one day,
Yeah, that looks really interesting. It looks like that'd be a lot of fun.
and Full Throttle Remastered. I think we talked about too. So
Yeah. I was saying, I remember seeing the big PC box for it in the stores when I was a kid.
yeah, the characters just seem so endearing, and I guess that's why I really like Double Fine's games. They're writing, the characters they create,
Yeah.
um, and of course Brutal Legend, which also is another one.
Yes. Oh my God, Brutal Legend. Admittedly, that's the one that I've played the most of out of
Uh-huh.
everything that's in the list. And that game just totally struck a chord with me. Ha
Ah,
in a
nice
very good way.
pick of destiny.
And yeah, and I mean, I really enjoy Jack Black.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was I said Pick of Destiny thinking that was a Brutal Legend reference, but that's a Tenacious
It
D.
is Tenacious D, but still,
Yeah,
I
same
mean,
thing.
he's basically, yeah. I mean, it feels very it almost feels like a spin-off Tenacious D video game, kind
Yeah.
of. Uh, yeah, it's great. I love it.
Um, okay, so yeah, I mean, definitely go throw your money. Everyone loves filling up their backlog with more games that they may or may never play, but you should play these.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and Psychonauts as well.
Yes.
I'll need to finally check that out. All right. Well, the next thing in the news is something I found and put in here, and this I don't know if it truly qualifies as news. It's actually much more of a rumor than it is news. But apparently, the person who leaked the information about GTA 5 coming to the PlayStation 5, um, which that's a whole different thing. Um, the same person is also giving this information to the community, saying something along the lines of Liberty City coming to GTA Online after the game launches on the PlayStation 5. And I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, that's also something that people have been wishing for and has been a rumor for quite some time. So who knows how valid this is, if at all. But that would be really awesome to see. And then also uh, rumors about Grand Theft Auto 6 and it taking place in Vice City, which is also another rumor that I have heard from other sources and or just wishes that the GTA community has. Um, but if this is true, then great, because this is stuff that people have been wanting. And if not, then I won't really be surprised because this is a rumor, and I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. But it's fun. It's sometimes fun to get caught up in some of the rumors.
Yeah, and it looks though that there may be some Liberty City content coming in the near future as well.
Wait,
Sorry, I didn't know if you mentioned that actually, and just now, but um, I would really like to see that. Just even if just to see maybe the GTA, even if they just took the GTA 4 map one and brought
yeah,
parts of it or all of it onto GTA Online, that would be like really worth checking out.
yeah. I mean, I that would definitely be another way to bring me back to spending a lot more time in uh, GTA Online. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I spent a lot of time in GTA 4. Really, really love that game, and I still do. It's just been a while since I played it, but yeah, that'd be That'd be awesome to have brand new content and have it in the GTA 5 engine, make it all new and shiny again.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's at least the GTA rumors that I saw. Also, recently there was a new update to Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's the second summer update, and it adds like fireworks, a new dream feature, which I can't remember the exact name of, but it allows you to visit other islands when you go to sleep in your bed, so that you don't have to intentionally be invited, or have a limited time frame for when somebody has their gate open. I believe it's similar to, if not just like the feature that was in Animal Crossing New Leaf on the 3DS.
Yeah, and it's really great to see them keep rolling out content. I've kind of fallen off of the Animal Crossing wagon a little bit.
Ooh, that reminds me. I have turnips to sell no matter what the price is right now. I totally forgot.
Yep, that's sell those turnips. But I feel like I'll get back to it. I just need to feel like playing that kind of game, I guess, for a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm sure you, just like I have put a bunch of time into that game already since it's been out.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, I've also been slowing down on it, and I've really only been checking turnip prices every now and then when I remember.
yeah.
But I haven't really remembered a lot this week because it's been a busy week. All right, so that's all I got about the new Animal Crossing update. Also, since we last spoke, there was an Xbox event where we got to see a little bit of Halo Infinite, an announcement trailer for State of Decay 3, and then also another announcement trailer for the new Fable. Um, and then one thing that came, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, is I saw something that was announcing that the multiplayer portion of Halo Infinite is going to be free to play.
Hmm,
And it's also going to support up to 120 frames per second for the Series X version of Halo Infinite.
awesome. Yeah, that's good to see. And interesting that it's saying free to play. So that's even going a step further beyond Game Pass. They're saying this isn't just on Game Pass, but
Yes.
download and play.
Oh, and you know what? I think I saw this. Now well, this might be true that uh what is it? Xbox Live Gold is
Mm.
totally going away, meaning
Yeah.
like online is going to be free
Hmm.
for people on Xbox, and the only thing you would be paying for is Game Pass if you're paying a monthly subscription. So if this is true, which I believe it is, then that's really like Microsoft taking an extra step to really say like, no, we don't care if you play on Xbox or PC. You don't need to pay extra for one. We want you playing our stuff anywhere that you can play it.
Yeah. So you're thinking that this may be confirmed or is a rumor. I know that it's rumored for sure that
Okay.
seems like the gold is melting away, but
Okay. So then it's a rumor. And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't trying to state something as fact.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean that may have been stated. I haven't watched the event yet. I will, but I thought that I had heard a rumor, so I don't know if that means that it has been since confirmed or not. So
well,
grain of salt.
yeah. And if that does happen, awesome. I think that'd be a really great idea. Um, and if it doesn't, I'm personally not going to worry about it because I think paid through sometime in 2022 with Game Pass Ultimate, which includes gold.
Yeah,
Because I like taking advantage of whenever I see it's like, hey, the 6 month is on sale for like $30. Or wait, $30? Is that too much? I don't know. Whatever the deal is, I like picking up when I see that just to extend my Game Pass Ultimate,
yeah.
because I use it quite a bit. I know I'm gonna keep doing it. Microsoft keeps adding more and more stuff to it, so um, they've got me as a customer on it for the next couple of years. So, hooray!
The next thing I've thrown on here is so since just over a week ago, the Switch got a version of Crysis. So
Yes,
the Switch can run Crysis. It's
it
the
can.
the question has been answered, um, and it's really interesting just to kind of see some of the things that they've kind of changed about this version. And um, there's like one mission that actually was cut from this version of the game, as well as
Oh,
the
really?
yeah, as well as the console version. There's a like, it's basically a PC exclusive sort of mission where you're in some sort of aircraft flying around. I haven't played the game, I don't know, but I heard that it just, that kind of scale, I guess, wasn't easy to translate in that engine for some reason. Um but it is a step closer to the PC version as opposed to the last console versions, the PC, PS3, and Xbox 360 we got last generation. So they're kind of moving that way, and Crysis Remastered will also be coming to PC and Xbox One and PS4.
Awesome.
Do you think you're going to pick up Crysis on the Switch?
Maybe eventually. I
Mhm.
don't know. I have sometimes had a tendency that when I finally pick up a game, I've picked it up on the Switch and get like objectively the worst quote unquote version of it,
Mhm.
or at least the worst visual version of it. Um, but I also feel like in uh, I don't know. Well, I guess pre 2020, when I was traveling a lot more, I did actually play quite a few different versions of games on the Switch purely because that's what was with me, and that's
Yeah.
what's so great about it. Um, but I don't know if I have a plan to play Crisis anytime soon because I want to. I'd probably pick it up something on my PC,
Yeah.
or somewhere else because I'm not really going anywhere anytime soon. And
This is true. There was a time when I was more on the go, and it was much more likely that I would finish a game if it was on something that was portable, whether it's my phone or my Switch or something like that.
yeah,
But
I've been saying the same thing about since I've been playing Persona 5. Though that's not in my what I've been playing later. I guess that's spoilers.
Mhm.
But it's funny because for the longest time, I didn't want to start playing Persona 5 because I was really trying to hold out to see if they were going to release a version for the Switch. So since March and not really going anywhere, I started playing Persona 5 again on my PS4 because I mean, I'm not going anywhere, and I can also, if I do want to play it handheld, I've done this quite a bit actually, where I'm sitting on the couch or I'm in bed before going to sleep, and then doing remote play on the Vita and playing Persona 5 that way, which is also a really great way to play it if you have the means. So, yeah. So a lot of the bigger games that I'm like, "Ah, I wish I could have it on a handheld, haven't really mattered as much this year to have it on handheld.
No, yeah, my Switch is collecting dust, but I am trying to play more Ring Fit Adventure. At least I've been thinking about it, just to
Yes.
try and
Yes,
stay in
I've been
shape.
thinking about it too. That's
Yeah.
about as far as I've been recently.
Ring Fit Adventure has become the gym of video games.
Yep. And then the last thing that we have here in our news list is about another thing that's going to be going free to play, which is Rocket League. And that is going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive free to play game, and exclusive with the asterisk next to it, meaning if you already own it on Steam, you're going to keep being able to play it there. I believe you're going to continue to be able to play it on all of your consoles where you own it. Um, but yeah, no, no more buying it on Steam, no more buying it anywhere, which I guess, I mean, in the respect that it's going free to play, I guess it's good that you're not buying it anywhere. But I know that that's going to be kind of frustrating to some folks that really just want to have everything in one launcher. Now things are going everywhere. But still, I think this will be a nice way to kind of boost the community again, let the 15 people that have never played Rocket League before, let those people play it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts you have about? this news item?
It poses an interesting question. If I can keep playing the Steam version, do I install the Epic Game Store's version because it's cheaper, or I mean, or not cheaper but free? I mean, like that's it's it doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
um, either way, I'll probably keep playing Rocket League.
I would not be surprised if they incentivized you playing over in the Epic Game Store,
Mhm.
like by way of like, here's a free hat or a free something, some type of set of cosmetics that's like, if you play it in the Epic Game Store, then you get all these cool things, or you get this exclusive car or something.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like they've got to add some sort of bait to it to want to play
Yeah.
on the, you know, not play on Steam for those who already own it. But yeah, I guess we'll see here. I love Rocket League. It's one of those. It's my I don't know. It's my favorite like twiddle my thumbs game because
Yeah.
I don't really have to think about what I'm doing, but it is pretty engaging. So
Yeah. It's a great game.
yeah.
I mean, and the first time that I got to experience it was also free, and I'm air quoting again, because it was part of PlayStation Plus. So since it was part of my subscription, I got it free with the subscription.
Mhm.
Um, and that's also, I probably wouldn't have played it otherwise. Like, I guarantee I would have not purchased this game if I had not had the opportunity to play it first. So anyway, it's a great game.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that concludes the news. Shall we dust off the time machine and go back in time to 1998?
It is time. I want to play that new game Half-Life.
Okay. All right, well, then let's hop in the time machine. Boop, beep, boop. We're going back to 1998 and cueing the noise of the time machine. And we have now arrived to 1998. So now that we're in 1998, it's very obvious that Furbies are a big thing. There's something about Mary and Saving Private Ryan are doing really well in the box office. Britney Spears, you might have heard of her. She has a brand new hit on her hand with "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time." Titanic is the highest grossing movie of all time. Pokemon is just taking the US by storm. Bill Clinton is denying having sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. Harrison Ford, of all people, is the sexiest man alive, according to People magazine. And we sadly say goodbye to Seinfeld as it airs its last episode right here in 1998. How are you feeling after this trip through time?
Wow, this brings back some memories. It's definitely a simpler time. Things don't seem so complicated.
No, no smartphones.
Nope.
No, well, barely have had internet access at my home now
There's
for maybe a year.
there's some pagers around. Those are
Yes, pagers.
big money maker at this time.
I'm a couple years away from getting my emergency cell phone to keep in my glove box of my car with 20 prepaid minutes,
Wow.
literally just for emergencies. So, yeah, definitely simpler times. But we are here not to prattle on about all of the things that are happening right now, except for the release of Half-Life for the PC. So Half-Life was released November 19th, 1998. It was developed by Valve and published by Sierra. And for those of you that may not know what the heck Half-Life is, it's a first-person shooter game, and it was developed with a very heavily modified version of the Quake engine. And one of the things that was really unique about Half-Life at this time is the fact that the whole world is shown from the main character's perspective. And there's scripted events that are happening in the world that you're seeing from the main character's perspective only. And the reason I'm saying it like only is because basically up to this point, FPS games generally had cutscenes that were there to help move the story forward. And you're just kind of running through a shooting gallery and shooting everybody that's in this level without any real uh path or
Context. Yeah.
drive or yeah, or even context sometime. I mean, it's like, in different games, you just find different things in the level. You get to the end, you see this cutscene, and then you just go and just keep shooting things mindlessly. And then you get to the last cutscene, and the game is over. So Half-Life was very different in that respect. Um, it ended up outselling expectations. It was one of the most popular games of 98 and 1999. It received over 50 Game of the Year awards. Um, oh, I wish I knew. I wish I knew what scores it got specifically in like PC Gamer. Oh well. I
It was
can't look it up.
probably 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Oh, and Half-Life 2 got 11 out of 10. But wait, I don't know this yet. It's 1998, and I don't even know about Half-Life 2, so never mind. Um, so a large modding scene was also created based off of Half-Life and its success. There was one small mod that a few people liked. It was called Counter-Strike. You might have heard of this mod. Um, and of course I jest about it being small. It's one it probably is more recognizable than Half-Life itself, but it was built off of Half-Life, and I remember those beta days. It was definitely a different game than what it's become. But anyway, um, Half-Life also, in addition to being on PC, it was ported to the Dreamcast, but it was actually never officially released. I do remember seeing advertisements for it though in magazines like EGM or GamePro or whatever else I was reading at the time. Um, and then also the add-on content. One of the It's funny. I want to call it DLC, but it's not. It wasn't DLC. DLC was still a long way from being a
Yeah.
thing.
Couldn't actually
Um,
download the
Yeah, expansion is the right word. So one of the expansions, Blue Shift, uh, I actually, until doing some research for this, did not realize that Blue Shift was developed specifically for the Dreamcast version of Half-Life, and it's only on the PC because it was canceled for the Dreamcast, and Gearbox, who was developing the port for Half-Life, they also developed um, Opposing Force, the first expansion to Half-Life, and they also developed Blue Shift. So they ended up porting it back to the PC, so so they wouldn't lose that work. But that's crazy. Like I had no idea until I was doing this that the Blue Shift was native to the Dreamcast and ported to the PC. I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, it is interesting, and that has the Dreamcast version has since leaked and does sort of exist out there. It is in a playable state if you can get your hands on it. Um,
Yes.
and actually, just last night, I thought it was kind of interesting. I had later this Half Life would be ported to the PlayStation 2. Um, but I watched a video on Digital Foundry where they actually compared the versions between the PS2, the PC, and the Dreamcast as well.
Oh, nice.
And it's generally some problems with the Dreamcast. It seems like it was performance as it wasn't finished, so the
Yeah,
frame
they
rate
they
is
definitely didn't finish doing the optimization for it.
yeah, so it loads a lot more frequently and the load times are long. And it seems like the frame rate is just probably about 30% lower than whatever the PlayStation 2 runs at.
Got
So
it.
like but it was really interesting to see that.
Yeah. So in addition to being ported to the Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2, it has also since been ported to macOS and Linux. So you can pretty much play this game on on almost any computer because the specs required to play Half-Life, especially now, are incredibly low.
Mhm.
So yeah, you shouldn't have too hard of a time. Like I've seen even people running emulated versions of Half-Life on an Android phone. So that just tells you it's almost becoming like Doom regarding like, but does it play Half-Life?
Yes.
Um, so at least that would be my own version of but does it play Doom? All right, so that's at least a little bit of background of just some of the history of the game. But the plot of the game, also for those that are not familiar and without giving too much away, is you assume the role of Gordon Freeman, who's a physicist and works for the Black Mesa Research Facility. The game starts out with you getting on the tram when you're already at Black Mesa and you're late for work. Pretty much everyone that you end up talking to until you finally get where you need to go is like, "Oh, you're late, Gordon. Um, weren't you supposed to be here a half hour ago?" Um, or something along those lines. So yeah, you're a physicist for conducting an experiment, and when you arrive in your HEV suit, your hazardous environment suit, then things kind of go wrong. You push this whatever like shopping cart looking thing into a beam. There's a big portal that opens up. There's aliens that come through. It gets crazy and gets real weird. There's these little head crab things jumping all over the place. They create zombies out of people. They try to jump on your head. And so you're dealing with all of this stuff. You're dealing with Vortigaunts, these crazy, like green electricity shooting out of their hands type aliens, these weird looking dog things with a bunch of eyes over their face that all blink at the same time. Um, Barnacles hanging from the ceiling that try to grab you and suck you up and uh, bite your head off. You're dealing with all of this while simultaneously the government gets involved and they're trying to cover up the whole thing. So they're indiscriminately not only killing the aliens, they're trying to kill you, they're trying to kill the whole scientist team, they're killing the security guards. So basically, you against all odds are just trying to get the hell out of Black Mesa alive. And that's basically the plot of Half-Life is you're a scientist who's just having the worst day of work ever trying to survive.
And it's clear that both the aliens and the government have gravely underestimated Gordon Freeman's ability to survive
Yep.
because it seems like through like the latter half of the game they're just trying to set traps to kill you, but it's simply not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, that hev suit, man, that really must do a lot to go to have you go from 27-year-old average dude to now you're running around with the suit and a crowbar and just cracking skulls.
It's really goofy. It almost reminds me of like the cops trying to catch the Dukes of Hazard, but they just cannot stop this force. It is just too good. So
Yeah, and at least for the time, the AI of the soldiers was so good. Like I remember uh playing it when I was younger and just like hiding behind a box and then them like you hear their radio chatter and then like they throw a grenade and then it lands right in front of my feet and just going like, "Wait, what?" And then boom. It was definitely was not used to that level of AI in an FPS at that time because normally in FPS games, all of the enemies just like stand there and just let
Mhm.
you just mow them down. And as long as you're trying to take cover, you'll be fine. But all of them just stand out in the open. In Half-Life, they actually take cover and try to work together. And they try to flank you. Like it's it's still, I think, even to this day, better than some AI in other FPS games that I've played that have even come out in the past like 5 years.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging when dealing with like the sort of multi-corridor sort of areas. And when they throw a few of these guys at you, it definitely required a little bit of luck to actually beat them all, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and I just remembered about the ninjas. The weird
Mm.
ninjas. Like, I don't even know where they fit into all of this. I guess they're government ninjas.
Yes, yeah. They're only in a few scenes, really. If I
Yeah,
remember right.
yeah, they only show up a few times.
Uh-huh.
Um, but they're like invisible. They kind of look like like Sam Fisher Splinter Cell, but then they go invisible. Yeah, they're kind of a pain in the beginning. Or I mean in the beginning as in like one of the first few times that you encounter them.
Yeah. Yeah, they wouldn't really pop up again. It is interesting. They were there. um,
So, what are your your memories and your general take of this game?
well, having come from the future and having played other games in the series, it's really interesting. How deep the series runs from this game. It's a lot of the gameplay is similar, even in Half Life Alyx to some extent. Later in the series,
Yeah.
the gameplay, I still think holds up. It's still fun, and we played some multiplayer earlier, and that was
Yes.
which, I just have to say, I'm amazed that people are just on any given day are still playing Half-Life to this day.
Yes,
And but
because this was your first time, right?
yeah, but I had a blast. It was it was just absolutely wacky and crazy and so much stuff going on. It was just hilarious to see, basically maybe I die to someone and then that person managed to kill someone else who at the same time killed them. So
Yes.
it was completely crazy. The latter half of the game, a lot of people kind of talk about as being the part, as you said, with pacing problems, the Zen area. So that's sort of when you go, take the fight to the aliens, and you actually open a portal to go to their world and stop them from attacking Earth, basically. There were some areas where I had like basically a small amount of health, and it took some trial and error. And basically, I had to do like a perfect run to get through some areas. Just
Yeah, that section with like the flying manta ray things and Zen.
yeah, yeah, and just barely ink out with I thought with just like 15 health, like just enough
Yeah.
to like clear the area. Um, so I thought that was kind of interesting because you can kind of, if you waste too much ammo or lose too much health, you could end up in a situation to where your save is almost bad at that point.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to make it out.
Yeah.
Um, the game still looks pretty good. I think, it definitely looks classic, but and of the era, but the game's been since updated with HD textures, which
Yeah.
look a lot better, look fine. Um, I'm just honestly happy that it runs at 16 by 9 at 1080p on my monitor. That's
Yes. I definitely remember I think maybe like 320 by 240 is maybe what I ran it in for the very first time when I first played
wow.
Half-Life. I mean, maybe up to 640 by 480, but like definitely the first time I played it, I was using like software resolution um, until I ended up getting access to better hardware. Um, yeah. So, did you have any other thoughts of anything before I kind of spew out some of the memories and thoughts that I have? Because I played this when this was new, so um, it's it's it strikes a chord with me.
Yeah. It's I just gotta say, if you're interested where, FPS got started and back in this era where games, kind of spawned other games in a way, right? So we saw with Doom and Quake how um, they basically allowed, they inspired developers. They
Yeah.
used the tools that were there, and they kind of crafted their own experience. So um, there's like some crazy maps that you can look up online that show like sort of the etymology of these games, like where like all these games came from, starting from Doom and how they spiderweb out to all these
Yeah.
games that we're still playing today that are brand new releases. To some extent you could even say like maybe um like well, I would say like Dota 2, for example. That's a game that's still I believe is running on Source Engine, which is
Yeah, I think it's actually running Source 2. I think it was the first thing to run Source 2.
yeah. So it's just kind of interesting that how the Source Engine came about, and with this game.
Though, actually, this game was the Quake engine.
Yes, correct. Yes, that's I misspoke there, but eventually, Source Engine was created, and this game is
Yes.
ported to Source as well.
The beautiful, beautiful Source engine for Half-Life 2. Um, but again, wait, I don't know this. It's 1998. Why do I keep talking about Half-Life 2? Um, all right. Well, then for my memories, I definitely did play this game when it was new. I didn't have a computer at my own house where I was living with my mom and stepdad, at least not until Half-Life had already been out for. Oh, wait a second. Did I? Now I can't remember. My timeline is fuzzy. Anyway, um, I initially started playing Half-Life at my dad's house because my dad had a computer and he was a big gamer, and he like I saw him like I definitely watched him play this a little bit and thought it was really interesting. And he was like, "Hey, you should definitely play this and check this out." So we started up a new game for me, and I was sitting out in the living room at his computer desk, and it was in the evening. So like he was watching stuff, I had some headphones on, and like I was playing through the beginning of the game, and it was at the time, especially like it was so tense because there was nothing like it. And to have to start off the game where you're totally defenseless for a while, like things are exploding. You've seen that there are alien enemies in your like close vicinity, but you have no weapon. And then the first thing you find is a crowbar. And then that pops up with you holding it. And you're like, wait a second. I have to defend myself with a crowbar? Like, this is insane. No way. There's like, what? I'm going to die. So I probably played up into the point like I don't know, just after you first start dealing with head crabs and you have a crowbar, and like it's already like 9 something or 10 o'clock, and my dad's like, all right, I'm going to bed, you can stay up and play. And I was like, nope, I'm saving and I'm going to bed too. There's no way I can be out here in the dark by myself playing this game. I will play it tomorrow in the morning or in the afternoon when when it's totally bright outside. Yeah, this game like freaked me out at first, um, but I ended up really loving it. And with with everything kind of going on at that time with my dad and his friends, and then ultimately including my friends, we ended up landing quite a bit. But before we, or actually, no, I think the first time that we land, I did not have my own computer, and we did it at a business that my dad was doing work for with some of the other guys that worked there. We all kind of jumped onto different workstations, and actually the first thing that we played, which I'm going to diverge from Half-Life a bit, was Unreal, and that multiplayer kind of set the stage to create this LAN party loving friend group, where we all then did transition to Half-Life. And my dad did end up actually buying some additional parts and pulling some parts from some old some old computers. And one weekend, all of that was set up at the desk next to his, and he was like, "Hey, if you want to play on your own computer, like here's everything, put it together. Let me know if you have questions." Um, so that also is really what kind of started me being into computers, was just because I wanted to play games on them. Um, yeah, it was like a Celeron CPU. I can't remember all the rest of the specs. Like, it definitely wasn't anything amazing. It was a very budget build, but I was so stoked that I had a way when I was at my dad's house where we could sit next to each other with our beige monitors and beige towers, uh, and serial PS2 keyboard and mouse, and play Half-Life. Um, so yeah, a lot of my memories from this game are even more so than just the single player experience. It's all of the lands that I got to have with my dad and with his friends, and then ultimately, like I mentioned before, with my friends, where there was one particular LAN party. And now you have the context for the madness and what this is like, since we were just playing Crossfire with
Yes.
um, which also, for anyone listening, yes, like Andy mentioned a little bit ago, there are still people playing Half-Life. Um, just the standard version of Half-Life on Steam.
Vanilla Half-Life. Yeah, no Half-Life Source or anything like that.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
mean,
still there.
people in there still, there might be people playing on Half-Life Source and whatnot, but yeah, there are people playing Half-Life right now. Um, because we were just playing with maybe 12 other people, and it was absolutely insane. So anyway, we're having a LAN party at my dad's house where it was hit some of his friends, and then my friends and I all drove up to where my dad was living. Pardon me. And then we were hanging out in his garage. We're all yelling at each other, laughing, having a great time. And then the neighbor comes over, and my dad's neighbor's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? Sounds like you guys are having a really good time." And he's being genuine about it, not like, "You guys are making a lot of noise, stop." But he's like, "You guys are genuinely sound like you're having a good time. Like, what are you doing?" So we told him, "Well, hey, we're having a LAN party. We're playing Half-Life. You should play with us." And he was like, "Okay." So since he was so close, we didn't make him pack up everything and bring it over. We ran like 100-foot network cable from the garage into his house. And as he was getting everything set up and installed, we actually ended up switching to this custom skin that we had all downloaded and kind of snuck in to our matches that made you invisible. But we had banned this because it's not very nice to do that. Um, but then we decided to have everyone pick the invisible skin, so that all of us were invisible to the neighbor who then started playing with us. We made it maybe 3 maps before he actually said something, and he was a super good sport about it. He's like, "So, um, is it intentional that I can't see you guys?"
It's almost like you were trying to pass off like his machine was broken or his install was bad somehow
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially with all of us being invisible and him being the only one not invisible. Um, yeah, so we then, like, we were all laughing and we're like, "Yeah, we picked this invisible skin. Thanks for being a good sport about it." And then, we went back to just picking regular character models, but that was a super fun time. And it was also the thing that I really enjoyed about those LAN parties, and about at least what I always think about when I think about Half-Life, um, is having that, like, as I smack my microphone, having that cross generational experience of, like, me and my friends that were anywhere from, I think, 14 to almost 17 for the time that we would land this. And then all of my dad's friends in like their mid to late 30s or 40s. Um, I think that was their age range, and it's weird that I'm like in part of that age range now. Uh, but yeah, like it was, I don't know, it was a great equalizer. It didn't matter, like we all equally just talked shit to each other. It didn't matter that, you know, they were 20 plus years older than us. They also talked to us the same way. um, I don't know, it was a lot of fun, and a really really great time. And the only other uh, land memory that I think I'm going to share, unless I end up remembering something else, is actually before this particular LAN with the neighbor happened. Because by this time, I was actually pretty decent at Half Life. But early on, with a lot of FPS games, I was bad on the computer. Like I was good at GoldenEye during this time, but mouse and keyboard, I didn't I don't think I was used to it yet. So like early on, we'd be landing, and I usually would be pulling up the rear. Like I'd be in last or very close to it. And there was one particular land that we had at my dad's friend's house, like probably about 20, 30 minutes out of town from where my dad lived. And there was just something that clicked that day. Like I was absolutely on fire. And we generally played like first to 50 points, which is 50 kills. And I had won. And not only had I didn't just eke out a win and have the next person have 49 kills. Like I got 50 and the next highest person was at 40. So the fact that normally I'm usually close to dead last and then I got first, I kept that up throughout the day too, doing really, really well. But that particular one, uh, I don't remember if it was my dad or his friend. They're like, "Holy crap, Matt, you just won!" And I was like, "Yeah, by 10." So that's still a thing that comes up between me and my dad, where just say by 10.
Not even a little bit. Did you stop getting invited to the LAN parties after that? Like,
No, that's when it began. I
I
mean,
see.
that's really like when it took off, and it was like, well, at least for me, it was even more fun because I actually got good at the game.
Yeah.
Um, and as you got to experience today, isn't it so thrilling to run around with just a crowbar when somebody's trying to kill you with a shotgun or with a rocket launcher?
Yeah. I mean, it's so incredibly silly, like how the game plays out, but
Just
it's just mindless. You just like grab anything, like, oh, I only have a pistol, I'm just gonna shoot this thing until it basically runs out of ammo, or swing this crowbar until I die.
or until
um
you run over some dead person's like ammo and weapon pack, and then all of a sudden you're firing a different weapon.
yes, exactly. It's just like it's like has this random element to it. I had moments where it kind of like clicked, and I picked up the rocket launcher, and I felt like I had the lag time, like the ping timed out, to
Yeah.
where I could just like I would fire off, like I fired off two or three rockets in a row, which I just absolutely nailed them with the rocket launcher, like guided them, just watched their organs go flying as
I know. I love the gibbing in that game so much. Just like bodies exploding.
yeah,
and
it's
it's
like the
and it's
body
comical.
disappears, replaced by a couple organs or like a liver that falls in the
Yeah, like part of a
ground.
rib cage and a bunch of meat on it.
Exactly. So it
Uh,
was it was really fun too. I just kind of found myself getting sucked in because the particular server we were on did not seem to have a kill limit. It was just
no, they just like statically were on Crossfire. Which on one hand that's kind of fun, but on the other hand, like I wish that they would have been rotating through, so we could play stuff like Stockyard and Gasworks and all of the other map names that I can't remember right now. But man, like there's so much chaos because the maps are small. And if you get a decent sized group of people playing, especially if you're able to do it in the same room, just everyone just screaming, laughing, and just like screaming at each other and swearing and having such a good time. Like that's the primary thing that I miss from LANs. I think is just all that smack talk in the same room with each other, and also especially if you're doing well and making people mad, it feels so good when they're complaining when you killed them. Like there have been so many times at LAN parties, just like I'm crying from laughing so hard at making people angry. And then when you're laughing and crying, it makes them even so like they're so much more mad, which then creates more laughter and tears. It's this beautiful cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's, you don't get that feeling very often where you laugh to the point of tears. It's
No,
like,
sadly,
and only games like this can. I've only, invoked that a few times, and that was, playing Halo Land on an Xbox,
no.
or
Yeah.
GoldenEye on the 64, or even Conker's Bad Fur Day as well. I
Oh man.
remember having similar, but I could definitely see it happening with Half-Life.
Yeah. I mean, and the game has such like interesting weapons, like the snarks. Um, like those were even present in the multiplayer match that we were playing. It's just
Yes.
hilarious, just like as soon as you pick them up, like tossing all of them out as fast as you can and hoping that they're going to go attack somebody else. But if they don't see anybody and you're still the closest in proximity, they're going to come back for you,
Yeah.
um, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, I think there was one situation where I had like, 10 health, or 6 health. I was basically one shot away, and like
You're just
5 of these
running from
things were
snarks.
chasing me, and, just running away, just
It's like,
shooting
oh,
my
oh God,
pistol at
oh
them.
no, no, no.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's in the right click when you're doing the shotgun when it fires two shells is so devastating. If anyone is within 10 feet of you, you just like cut them down, like they just crumple to the ground. Ah,
Yes. Yeah, I would play again. I would, that was a lot of fun.
yeah, I think that's something that we should actually try to see if we can get a small group to play. Because even though I feel like it might be a hard sell at first, because people are going to be like, "Really, you want me to play this 22-year-old game
Yes.
that they probably already have in their Steam library?" Yes, I do want you to play that 22-year-old game online because it's so much fun.
And I think I saw that maybe it was the source version, but on Steam there was a dedicated server like application that you can download.
Yeah, I've
So
actually been thinking about running like if we do end up doing something like this, running a dedicated server version on my Mac,
yes.
and then joining from my PC. As long as the latency would be low enough for everybody else too, because obviously my ping would be like 5 or less.
Yeah, I think it would be doable. I think just the fact that we're all in the same area, but I
And
think,
also, I mean, we technically wouldn't even have to run a dedicated server. You
oh,
can just start up a server
oh,
that you're running as the client as well.
I see. Okay.
Um, or anyway, yeah, it just well, I guess it should be fine. I mean, I'm running a brand new computer, and I know that I
Yeah.
used to do it back in the day. Oh, and that reminded me that so I used to every now and then with my cousin, who I think really primarily played video games because I did, and I just kind of like was like, hey, let's play video games. um, I got him to install Half-Life on his computer, and he only lived across town from me, but there was no way he was going to be able to take his computer to my house and vice versa. So basically, I learned a long time ago how or I mean, sorry, a long time ago. Yes, it was a long time ago. But I learned how to have him directly dial into my computer with his modem so that we could essentially just play a LAN game of Half-Life, just 1v1. Um, but that was also super fun. I just found so many different ways to get so many people to play this game with me because I love it so much. And I love it so much. It was the very first tattoo I ever got was the Half-Life Lambda logo with the little circle around it and everything.
Yeah, it reminds me of when we were talking about Mario Kart, how you got your stepsister into playing with you
Yeah.
on just because you need
Yep.
someone to play with.
Man, when I was a kid, I just tried to get any and everyone to play video games with me. Like I took my consoles to everyone's house. Like just going over for like 2 hours. I'm like, cool, I brought my Super Nintendo. You want to play Super Nintendo? They're like, I guess so. Like, great, we're playing Mario Kart and Street Fighter. Yeah. Trying to think if I've got anything else while we're here in 1998 and talking about Half-Life. Um, hmm. I think that's it. Anything else from you?
No, I think unfortunately, it may be time to go back to 2020.
All right. Well, let's not think about it too much. And step on in that time machine. All the beeps and boops. All right. We have now arrived back in 2020. And now that we're here in 2020, we can talk about the things that we've been playing since we last recorded. Um, I mean, we both were just playing some Half-Life Deathmatch online, which was pretty dang awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'll be returning. So
Yes, we should definitely do it some more.
yeah.
Let's see. Do you want to start off with something, or I mean, I know I've got a crazy list, but I'm gonna condense them.
Okay. Well, why don't you start with a chunk and then I'll start with a chunk.
All right. Well, then this chunk is all Half-Life related. So in addition to the bit of multiplayer that we were just talking about, I did also play some of Black Mesa on PC, or also, as I have it written here, Black Mesa Source, 'cause that is what it used to be called, if it's now just flat out Black Mesa. So played a bit of that, and that's also, I think, a really great way to experience Half-Life if you never have, and if for some reason you really just can't get into the original version of it, um, because of the engine or whatever. Um, I don't know. For some people, it feels harder to go back to older games for some reason. I mean, I definitely have my feelings. Well, I have some feelings like that about different games. Definitely not this one, but Black Mesa is a really great way to experience this game, especially because I've played the original one so recently. It's so cool to see the way that they've completely rebuilt Half-Life in the Source engine, and it's much better than just straight up vanilla Half-Life Source. So, in addition to a bit of Black Mesa, I also just spent a little bit of time in Half-Life Alyx in VR. I didn't really do any of the campaign as I've been playing it recently because I've already played through the game twice. Um, Love it, think it's phenomenal. But I am incredibly biased because, like I said, I even have a Half-Life tattoo. So um, I am fanatical about these games. Um, so anyway, love them. And then and lastly, because we were also kind of talking about Half-Life on the Dreamcast and how it is playable, even though it wasn't officially released. So for anyone who knows how to search for things on the internet and you own a Dreamcast, you can definitely find a way to play Half-Life on the Dreamcast. And that is also what I did a few days ago. Set it up here on my desk, connected it to my monitor, and was able to play with the Dreamcast keyboard and mouse as well. So even though Half-Life on the Dreamcast in the menus, it doesn't mention anywhere that you can actually play with a keyboard and mouse, if you have them plugged in, like I had a controller plugged in to port 1, and then the keyboard was in 2, mouse was in 3. I don't know if the order matters, but that's the way that I played it, and it worked really great. I mean, to the point that you brought up before about it not being optimized, therefore is a little bit more choppy. That's definitely true, but it's super fun to be able to play this game, like, or the version of this game that was never officially released, also in a very niche way with a keyboard and mouse on the Dreamcast too, which there weren't a ton of games that supported the keyboard and mouse, so it was nice to play one of the few games that actually did. Um, so yeah, those are at least my Half-Life chunk of stuff that I played. Um, oh, the thing that I didn't mention about Half-Life Alyx, though, I did. So the workshop content is the stuff that I played, and I was playing a couple levels from GoldenEye that have been remade in like as workshop content for Half-Life Alyx. So kind of playing a different old game in a new game,
Yeah.
and getting to do it in VR. Um, it's super cool. So anyway, I will hand the conversation over to you for some of the stuff you've been playing.
Yeah. So actually I have an update as of even last night. I played some StarCraft 2 and I
Nice.
played with some buddies, and we actually got we started queuing into 4v4, and we did our placement matches for 4v4, which so okay, it's 2020. Probably the last time this has happened was probably like 2017 or something like that.
Gotcha.
It's like we used to play this game all the time, and then for some reason we stopped. One of my friends who was key in why we played this game, he didn't have a PC that could run it anymore. So but that has changed recently, so we've kind of dusted off the StarCraft 2 and started playing again. And god dang it, just when I thought I was out, I got dragged right back in.
Got sucked
And
back in.
yeah, exactly. It's really addicting. It's just I really like kind of the strategy and the way that it makes you think. Um, it's not as stressful as I used to play when I was a little younger when I was playing this, but because I can kind of like learn how to relax and just make decisions and just do it rather than wrestling with it. Um, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. We actually went on a bit of a win streak. So we were gonna get off around 10 o'clock, but then we started winning. So we vowed to play until we lost, and about an hour later that happened. So
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So well, each StarCraft game goes on for like 15, 20 minutes or so. So we placed in gold, which is like gold 3, which is just basically low gold, which is it's not great. I think we are better place than that, but it's we definitely just can't take on a platinum team. So for reference, the rankings go bronze, silver, gold, diamond, master, and then grandmaster. Grandmaster is like I think like master is like top 10%, whereas grandmaster is like the top 1%. So
Oh
there's like a
wow.
big difference between those two. So yeah, it's a trip. So we'll keep practicing, keep playing, and I think we will get better. But yeah, I think we got managed to get through it without too much arguing. So that was cool.
Nice.
I'll probably be playing some 1v1 later because I do need to work on my game. um, Heroes of the Storm was a game that kind of took the place of StarCraft for me for a while. So I was playing this a lot in like 2018. Um, and we had like a lot of fun with it, but it was definitely just felt more chill than StarCraft. But like we could actually talk and have a conversation and not really worry about it,
Yeah.
and still have fun. But it still kind of scratches the same itch. But we ended up I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth for this game because we went for a little bit of a losing streak the last time I played. So
Yeah, it's
That's
always
enough.
hard.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh man, that feels terrible. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I'm not going to play this game. So, and then the last in my Blizzard corner, there's a little bit of a theme here, but is been playing some Overwatch. You and I actually
Yes.
have. We play this
Yes.
about once a week. I found actually once or twice a week.
Yeah. I think at least, and then I actually was also playing some by myself last night when I saw you were playing some StarCraft,
Mm,
or StarCraft 2 rather.
yeah.
But yeah, I also I don't know. I love this game. I mean, I feel like it's one of the greatest team-based uh quick fix type multiplayer games. And I feel like, you can have such a different experience with the different characters that you decide to play as, and different classes that you decide to queue as.
Yeah, I've probably only played of like maybe 30% of the characters that are like
Yeah.
definitely need
Um,
to play more.
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of DPS characters that I've never really played because the queue times are so long by comparison to support and tank.
Mhm.
So I mean, and I mained Mercy for a very long time, like pretty much exclusively only played as Mercy for a number of hours, but definitely branched out. Like I like playing quite a few different support characters. There's at least 3 or 4 different tanks that I now really enjoy playing as. And then on the off chance when I queue as all three that I actually do end up playing support, really only have any experience with like Farah. And who else am I not thinking of for support that I play?
Moira.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's support. I meant you're right, and I meant to say DPS.
Oh,
Um, because Farah, and then dang, I don't remember who else it is that I occasionally play. I think it's because it's been so long since I've played
yes.
DPS that I really can't remember who I would play as. Um, but yeah, it's such a fun game.
Yeah, yeah. It's I just smitten playing it usually, and it also just has that same Blizzard game characteristic. It doesn't feel good to lose, and it feels great to win. Um, Somehow, I don't know how they bottled that formula and able to sell it, but it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, and I I do really enjoy the and keep forgetting what they're called. Is it an endorsement? Or dang
Yeah,
it.
this is gonna bother me because I'll have to
Now I
look
feel
it.
like I need to look this up. Doesn't make for very great radio to have to Google search something. But anyway, at the end of the match when you can press N on the keyboard, at least on the PC version,
It is the endorsements. That's what they're
endorsements.
called.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. It is. Yeah. So I mean, I also really love that you have endorsements in the game, and as often as possible, I like giving people on my team that have been playing well the shot collar one because it's at least whenever I get it, it's a nice little hit of dopamine. Um, so I really like to try to be positive in that game because there's enough negativity in games that it's rather unfortunate.
Yeah, you do a great job of that. So I think it's good, and I think it's important to tell people, good job. And I like to kind of give two endorsements to my teammates, like you did a good job, you did a good job, and then someone else on their team who is either particularly annoying or bested
Yeah,
me. I love to say like, all right, sportsmanship, you good
yeah.
job. You made life hard for me. That means you were doing good.
Yes, and whenever I have a very unfortunate map where I feel like nobody on my team played well, I keep that to myself, and then I just endorse then I do all three endorsements to people on the other team.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, I can at least say you three played very well. Maybe me and my team, not so much, but you guys did a great job. So
Yes.
yeah, like to try to keep the positivity going as much as possible in multiplayer gaming, because it doesn't feel like it happens enough.
Totally.
Yeah. So let's see. I alluded to some of these titles before we traveled time in this episode. And I just kind of want to quickly mention three different games that I haven't put a ton of time into, but I have had some fun with, and they are all on Game Pass. And I played them on PC, even though I'm pretty sure all three of them are available on Xbox. I might be mistaken. There might be one that's only on PC and not on Xbox. But anyway, the three games are Gato Roboto, Carrion or Carrion. Again, I don't know. Carrion, and then a game also called West of Dead. In West of Dead, the main character is voice acted by Ron Perlman. So that's at least the interesting thing about that game. But Gato Roboto is a kind of grayscale looking Metroidvania game where you control a cat that can jump in and out of a mech suit. And when you're in the mech suit, you're basically like Samus in Metroid. So it's it reeks. Well, I guess reek is a bad word, but to describe this, because I'm not meaning anything negative, but I guess it is dripping of Metroid. It is very very Metroid, and to me that is a good thing. It's fun. I definitely want to take some time and get back into playing a bit more of it. And the game Carrion, I'll just say it that way. Again, I don't know if it's right, but Carrion, it's you're kind of this amorphous blob of things of like goo from people. You're this monstrous thing that it's a side-scrolling type game, and I mean it has some type of Metroid-ish elements. Well, maybe not. I guess maybe not quite. I mean, it is definitely like maybe a hint of Metroid flavor, whereas like Gato Roboto tastes just like Metroid. Um, but Carrion, you get bigger as you eat these people in these caverns. Like, I've gotten to a point where it looks like there's like a flashback to controlling this person, and I'm wondering if that person is this creature before it became the creature, like if it's a flashback of like what led you to becoming this weird blob of people. So anyway, it's definitely interesting. um, if this were not 2D pixel art, I would probably think that it looks disgusting. um, but it's 2D pixel art, so it's a lot of fun. And again, West of Dead, it's a two-stick type game. Um, you kind of traverse around. I think it's a roguelike actually.
Mm,
So I think it's procedurally generated. Anyway, also very interesting. I had fun with a bit of time that I've played. Out of those three, I I'm the most curious to see what happens in Carrion.
I see.
Um, and then next in my list would be going back to Gato Roboto and then West of Dead. Um, but nothing is wrong with any of those games. It's just my own personal interest was piqued the most in Carrion because it's the most different. I feel like from different games that I've played.
How was the difficulty in Gato Roboto, by the way?
So the what I ended up playing through, which is probably about 45 minutes, it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I died one time.
Okay. Cool. So it seems like, yeah, I really do like sort of the Metroid formula, but those Metroidvania games, I like the kind of the modern ones because the difficulty seems a little more balanced.
Gotcha.
But you know, Metroid, those things, the original Metroid's a great game, but you will die often. It's just
Yes. Oh my
the
God.
nature of the beast.
Yes. To me, the original Metroid is not aged as well as all of the others that came after it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, But now you can play on your Switch and you can rewind time while you're playing. So that
Yeah,
might be a
it's
interesting
true.
way to play Metroid. So I'll have to go back to that. Um, I want to talk about a game, The Forest, that we started playing, which is sort of this survivalist crafting game. It has some story elements, but I think the story is like, I don't. It's pretty campy. Like you lose your son. He's taken away by these cannibals, and uh,
I always hate when that happens, when the cannibals
yeah,
take my son.
when the cannibals take my son. But the kid's name is literally Timmy. It's like
Oh, they took little Timmy.
yeah, they took little Timmy. So you got to get him back. But the island. I kind of like how the story is laid out because it's clear that other people have been there and they've kind of leave these clues and these letters that you find. So it kind of helps you sort of ravel in the mystery and it all kind of comes together pretty much at the end, like the last, 5% of the story. That's kind of when you get your answers. Like it's just all very confusing up to that point. So that seems like the draw. But we just kind of spend a lot of time uh, building a base and defending it from the cannibals and getting food and supplies until you get like supplies enough to where you can start like exploring the island comfortably. So it's kind of very naturally goes from, okay, I just want to stay alive to like, okay, I've got enough stuff to stay alive. Let's explore. You uncover more story. You get more gadgets in a way that allow you to explore more parts of the island and until you explore it all. And then that's when the end of the game happens. So
Now, is this like single player slash multiplayer with a limited amount of people, or do you join like a large world where there are a lot of other people?
It is sort of like a single player game. It seems like at its heart that you can
Okay,
you can play multiplayer if you want to, so you can get other people in.
got it.
Um, I think the game, this common sentiment in my group is that the game is pretty frustrating to play alone, completely alone. But if you have a group, then you can kind of lean on each other to like, okay, I'm going to chop wood. Can you build this fence so that the fence actually gets built during that day,
Got it.
so kind of um
And is this the game with like screaming naked people that are coming after you?
yes, yeah, that's the one. It's it's
Cool. So
it
I have seen videos of this then.
yeah, it's creepy, but like it's definitely not creepy enough to where like it would prevent me from playing it.
Yeah.
I don't really like to play a lot of scary games because it can stress me out, but
Yes. Half-Life is a scary game to
yeah.
me, or at least it was. Um, well, cool. Let's see. I also have another like group of stuff. Because as I was excited about in our previous episode and mentioned that I had a Terra Onion mode on the way, it has since arrived, and I've put a hard drive in it and installed. Sorry, or I connected a hard drive to it, and then installed this in my Saturn. So I've been playing quite a few Saturn games, more than just what I've listed here, but this is the stuff that as I've been sampling things that I actually like stopped and played or have gone back and continued to play. So I've been playing Donpachi and Donpachi. They're both vertical spaceship bullet hell shooters, made by Cave. Really, really great games.
And it's the first time you're playing it not emulated, basically. It's on real hardware.
Yes,
So
yeah, and yeah, because I've played also emulated versions of the arcade game, because there's a little bit of visual difference between this version and the arcade game. Um, but playing it emulated, it just so far at least there's too much latency in it to where like when I've actually played the game at an arcade cabinet and then have immediately like in the same day gone back and played it in an emulator, there's a huge difference, like
wow.
huge difference where um a year ago when I was at this arcade convention, and I actually got to sit down and play this on an Astro City candy cabinet. Um, like I spent as much time as possible playing this game because it has become one of my favorites. And I was like, I was doing so well, at least for me. I mean, I'm nowhere near being able to one credit clear the arcade version and difficulty of Dodonpachi. Um, but I was getting like I think I was getting to the point where I was able to beat the third level boss, and then I would die somewhere early in the fourth level. Um, so so being able to do that in the arcade, and then that day going home and still being really excited about the game, and then playing the arcade version on an emulator, like I would lose all of my ships within the first level. um, that's how different the the display latency or the lag is when playing it emulated, at least the way that I was playing it. Now, there might be a better optimized version that I'm unaware of. But anyway, so that's a long way to say that I've been very excited to be able to play it on the Saturn. And like, I'm sure that I'm still, because of my TV, dealing with input lag or latency, but um, it's still just really nice to be able to play the home console version of Donpachi, since I previously hadn't played it because it's also a Japan only release.
Mhm.
Um, so that's also one of the great things about the mode, is that it auto region patches stuff for you, or I don't know, I don't even know if it has to do that. It just doesn't care about the region, and you can play it on whatever Saturn. So I've got like the very first model US Saturn. So also on the Saturn, another game that is of the same type or in the same genre is Batsugun, which also is a bullet hell shooter and super fun. This also is something that I don't know if I don't know if I ever played the arcade version. If I have, um, it was also at the same arcade convention. Um, but super fun. Totally recommend it. And then also played some Road Rash, which I'd never really played this version before, except maybe like I think that I played it at the Good Guys when I was a kid. And the Good Guys was an electronics store. And yeah, I think I played just a little bit of the demo of Road Rash on the 3DO there. And this is the same version, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of FMV cutscenes in it. Some like I don't know what to say about the cutscenes other than it makes the game feel aggressively 1990s. Because the Saturn came out in what, like 95, I think. Um, so whenever this game came out, it would have been mid 90s when Road Rash was released on the Saturn. And like getting fourth place in out of 15 in one of these races is when I got the loser cutscene. And I might be embellishing it, but it might have been flipping me off and like going loser, and like was just, yeah, it was over the top about it. And then also when you win, like it looks like it's potentially all of the development cast uh that are the people that are like the extras, or even just the air quotes actors that are in these FMV cutscenes. um yeah, it's, I don't know, like the seeing this version of Road Rash is like a time capsule of the 90s, like in and of itself. So it's been pretty fun to go back and play. And I mean, also I just like this version of the game. It's been a lot of fun. And one thing that I didn't realize from Road Rash, and maybe it's only this way in this version, I have no frame of reference to the original version that was on the Genesis, because I have Road Rash 2 on the Genesis. But I didn't realize that it was all like in California, basically, because it looks like there's a peninsula map, there's a city map that I think is like San Francisco, there's a Highway 1 map, um, Sierra Nevada mountains. I think there's something in the redwoods, maybe. Anyway, it's kind of a cool look at something that was. I'm pretty sure it was developed by EA. If it wasn't developed, it was at least published. And they're at a redwood city in the Bay Area, so it kind of makes sense that they would have made this game, of their surrounding area, so that they at least had some type of context. But
Right. Yeah, they just kind
yeah, it
of
was
took a
cool.
look around for inspiration. So,
Yeah, and then the last Saturn thing that I put some time into was Sega Rally Championship, and I don't think I'd played that since I've played it in the arcade. So it's definitely been a while, but it was a lot of fun. Um, no real frills, just a good racing game.
yeah, actually that looks really good. I was just looking up a little video. Looks like a lot of fun. Um, it reminds me of a game I used to play in the N64. I think it was Top Gear Rally. I think
Yes,
I was
I have
playing.
that on
So
my shelf behind me. I love Top Gear Rally.
that was a fun one.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
such like I think it even may have reviewed not so well.
Yeah.
Um I could be making that up, but man, like you could edit your car and create different um like designs for your car, and like, oh my god, I was such a stupid like teenager. Like I think I created like a 666 design for my car. It was like the devil, like something super stupid that a teenager would do.
Yeah, for some reason I never owned this game. But I I I rented it from my local video store, not even Blockbuster, which at some point we rented a couple games and the store actually went out of business while we had the games and they just never called us for them. Um,
Well, not free, but
yeah, I would
rental
have.
cost only games. Hooray.
Yeah, I really would have liked it to have been Top Gear Rally. I can't remember if that was one of the ones that we got, but we definitely ended up with 1080 snowboarding. That was one of those games too.
Oh,
So
oh man, that was such a fun game.
yeah, I'll have to look through the games because I definitely ended up with the games from my the N64 from my household from my stepbrother. But um all right, so the last game that I've really been playing a little bit here and there is Minecraft. It's just something that I can kind of been looking for an activity because I need to catch up on my podcast. I'm getting behind since I'm not commuting to work right now. But
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft is a great game to do it, and I'm playing kind of a weird way. For one, I'm running it on a server that I'm running locally in my house,
Nice.
and um, it's not a very powerful machine, so it's actually running Linux just to kind of get closer to the metal and have
Yeah.
less OS overhead. So there's that, but I'm also playing it on peaceful, so that there's no enemies, but also I'm still playing in survival, but not creative. So I still have to like gather the materials for
Yeah.
things that I'm building, but um, I did find that one thing that's kind of interesting is I don't know how you would get string. Like this seems like the easiest way to get string is to actually kill spiders. They drop string,
Yeah.
but if you're playing on peaceful, there are no spiders. So
Oh.
the only other way to do that is to find like abandoned mine shaft, and there are cobwebs there that you can destroy and get string from them. But string does like a lot of things, so
Yeah.
you kind of need string. So that's something I've been playing around with. There's not really a whole lot to talk about it. I'm just kind of building a city because I've seen Minecraft cities, and I'm sure a lot of them have been done in creative and all that. But I just want to like see what I can build and design. I like something very relaxing about designing homes.
Yeah.
It's like going back to when I was a kid and used to play in the backyard and build things out of sticks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. I used to do that stuff with Legos, especially.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, there were Legos too, for sure.
Yep.
I know at my dad's house I didn't have too many toys, so I just like would go in the backyard and play with like a couple action figures in the dirt.
Heck yeah. I used to do
Yeah.
stuff like that too. It's good times.
Well, I think that's all I got. You got anything else like you've been playing?
Uh No, not really. I mean, just uh, just the very very small amount of Animal Crossing, and also I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna have to do that and sell off the turnips that I have right now. Probably gonna have to sell for a loss, but oh well. I'm sitting on way too many bells right now anyway.
Yeah.
Um, all right, well. Then I guess that's everything we've been playing. We've already traveled time. We've talked about the news. I guess that brings us to the end of the show. So this this is where I think I have decided um, what it is that we will have our next show about. And also, um, the reason I'm saying that for those listening is we've decided we're kind of going back and forth every episode for who is picking what we're going to be talking about. And strangely enough, Andy picked Half-Life, which is like one of my favorite series of games. So it's like I just got a freebie. Um, but I think I'd like us to play some Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
I'm excited. But I'm
Yeah,
gonna pull and I'm gonna contain my excitement until next week.
yeah. So and also just heads up for everybody, I'm not saying that we're both going to be playing through and beating this game in the next 2 weeks when we go to release our next episode and record and all that. But at least put some time into it. I have beat this game. It's been quite a while. So probably just going to be playing it on the PC, playing it on the PS2, contrast and compare a little bit, and then see what kind of memories I can pull out to talk about. Since I'm sure both of us have memories of this game. Yeah, so that's something if y'all want to play along and be part of the one-sided conversation that you won't be able to say, we won't be able to hear you, but we encourage you to chime in as well.
And I definitely haven't decided what version I'll be playing. It'll probably be a combination of a few, so we'll be talking about that. So anything that this plays on, if you
Yeah,
guys want to play, don't be
yeah.
shy.
That's
Uh,
that's all. That's also one of the things that I like about picking some older games is, um, we have the ability to play on so many different platforms now. Since a lot of these really great games have continued to see the light of day and keep being brought forward, so that you can keep playing it on current technology and current consoles and um, even phones, like you mentioned. It's crazy.
yeah, that's a great port on iOS and Android of San Andreas. So
Yeah, just blows my mind. You can play that game on a phone when it used to look so real.
yes.
So, all right. Well, so we have that to look forward to next time. Um, and to everyone here, thank you so much for listening to the show. You can subscribe to this if you haven't already on different services like Anchor, Spotify, Overcast, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Radio Public. There might even be another or more that are coming. I don't know. If we do add more, then we will add that to the outro spiel here. And if folks have anything that they're like, if your favorite client is not supported, um, let us know. And I guess you could let us know by emailing podcast at retrogametimemachine.com, and we will be able to see whatever you send us. So hopefully it's something nice. That's all I got. So come join us next time, and we'll talk about GTA San Andreas and whatever other games we've been playing between now and then.
Bye for now.
Au revoir.